We started from Kibithoo at the India-China border, and when we started, it was first of all chilly, and the hands were numb and feet were numb, and the first thing you have to go down and up and can't even change
Change the
gears.
gears.
Like, how do you go on? And the roads are terrible, with rocks. I mean, it's actually, you need a mountain bike, honestly, on those roads. But we were doing it on a roadie, which is ridiculous, but we survived. The terrain was crazy initially because the Himalayas and there were just very bad roads. There were landslides, there was muck, there would suddenly be rocks rolling, so there would be machines, and we had to pull our bikes, and we were carrying our own luggage. And we all are so tied up with our routines, work, and that we just don't have time for ourselves, because this could be a time for ourselves, mentally, physically, and it nourishes us and our soul, because life just races by. So yeah, I mean, being an architect myself, like initially, I when I started the brevets, I was very busy, but I would just try and ration out time. And
I am Baiki Venki, and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest, Tasneem Mohsin, is a practicing architect and interior designer. This mother of two is a long distance endurance cyclist who has just come back from completing the 4,000-kilometer journey from Kibithoo of Arunachal Pradesh, which is the last town on the Indo-China border in eastern India, to Koteshwar of Gujarat, which is the last Indian town on the Indo-Pak border. She and her co-rider Meera Velankar, who was on this podcast last year, completed the challenging ride in 27 days. In this episode, we talk about her endurance journey. We talk in detail about the east to west ride, going into the challenges and the exhilarating moments of that amazing journey. Hi Tasneem, welcome to the Working Athlete podcast.
hello, Venki. Thank you for having me right here.
Awesome. It's a pleasure having you on the show. And first of all, congratulations on completing the massive 4,000-kilometer ride from east to west of India, right?
Right, right. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
You did that you completed that ride in 27 days.
Yes, 27 days inclusive of a rest day. We
Okay.
had a rest day. Yeah.
Nice, nice. All right. That's a massive ride. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So we'll get into that and how it went and all that. But uh, let us start with something that I ask everyone on the Working Athlete podcast, saying what is work for you currently?
Work for me, I'm a practicing architect, interior designer. Cycling is a passion,
Yeah,
absolute
yeah.
passion. And when I get time, I love to sketch and paint. So, right.
Awesome. Architect. Right.
Yes.
So, did you do any sports in school, college, or
No,
anything?
none
Nothing.
at all. Nothing.
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 How did cycling come about?
Actually, after marriage, of course, in school, 5th to 10th, did the cycling to school from home in Bangalore. So, after shifting cities, after marriage, my husband had got a cycle for me.
Okay.
So that is when it started. And I used to run then, but I used to have a lot of injuries with running. So cycling I enjoyed, and it was more consistent. And then I just got so hooked onto it.
Okay. When was this?
This was about 5 years back.
Yeah.
So I would like do 20 kilometers, 30, just
Two,
yeah.
2016, 17
Right,
times?
right around then.
Okay, okay. You said 15-20 kilometers. Now you have been doing long distance cycling
Yes.
for a while. So how did that transition happen over a period of time?
So I used to ride mostly with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
He was aware of BRM, and he wanted to in fact do one. And
Mm.
I had in fact supported him once. He sort of did a 100-kilometer loop, including the Nandi,
Mm.
and yes, but after some time he just like stopped cycling, and he was like, you search out. I would cycle alone, but I would search out for other company. And so once I yeah bots once the bots thing. So I joined them, but they always so fast, and I was just totally left behind. And I don't know South Bangalore too well. So I was like completely lost, and I did not have that time, uh, things, accessories to keep the mobile on the cycle and
Mm-hmm.
follow the routes. So anyway, and
Okay.
then I came across Twa, Rahul Nayar's, and I joined his group, and that's when I started longer rides, and I came to know about brevets, and I came to know about spokeswomen. So I joined, and then I came to know about brevets, which was like new to me, and that's how it
Okay.
gradually seeing others and being inspired by others.
Mm,
Yes.
mm, mm. Definitely. So the bots organizes
Right.
weekend rides.
Right.
Bots organizes rides, and then a lot of other small groups are there.
Yes.
But how did joining spokeswoman, or being part of a woman group, did it help? Uh,
Absolutely, it
mm,
did help because because actually some reason I would never see many women
mm,
cyclists in my part of town. So when I came to know there's such a big community and people cycle with each other, and so I also tried, and I was encouraged and inspired and would try and join them on rides, and then I was encouraged to go by myself also, seeing that women go by themselves and things like I would go, so I
mm,
continued.
mm,
And I came to know of 100 brevet and a 200, 150 and 200, and that's when 150 actually, not the 100, then 200, and that's when I continued.
mm, mm, mm.
Right.
So, how was your first brevet, like 200 kilometers, or something like that?
Right.
You would have done what, maybe 100 or something like that until that point.
Yes.
Yeah. So how was moving to that long distance format? What was the experience like initially?
Initially, it was tiring. It was really a little treacherous. I came to know about the 200 brevet. It was, I think, the airport circuit in 2019
Mm,
was my first. And actually, earlier I had a hybrid cycle. My husband had gifted me a hybrid cycle. I would always have back pain.
mm,
And I thought that's a part of cycling. And then I discovered that, it's an oversized cycle and I need to get and I got a roadie. And so my 200 was on a roadie. So yes, it was beautiful, I mean, going off the usual urban circuit because I just hate traffic. I'll do
all of
anything.
us do.
Yes, yes, I'll do anything. I'll wake up at obnoxious hours to avoid traffic.
Mm,
So yes, it was beautiful, and I very comfortably finished it, and I rode alone.
mm,
I just kept some things with me, ate the food provided by the Bangalore engineers, Mohan, and I think it was Airport Express or something, and ate and then finished. It was hot, I remember,
mm,
but I comfortably finished, and I was very happy,
mm, mm.
absolutely elated, right?
Right. So you then went on to finish two SR series.
Right.
Right. So SR is a series of 200, 300, 400, and 600 kilometer rides in one brevet season. Is that
Right,
correct?
right, right.
Right. So you have done that twice,
2 different years.
two
Yes,
different years. When
yes.
was this?
2019
And 2020.
and 2020.
Okay.
21, huh?
Right.
Right.
So, wow, in that, right, what was your most memorable ride and what is the most like the toughest ride that you have?
In the series,
Yeah.
memorable ride. Actually, I was initially very fascinated
Hmm.
because cycling is a passion and I love traveling. And I love the outdoors, I love the outdoors and green things. So I discovered that there's more to, Bangalore, the urban Bangalore, which I'd never seen. Born and brought up in Bangalore, these are the circuits I'd never seen. So this really fascinated me, and I really enjoyed, and the camaraderie, and the challenges, the people, the interesting talks, helping each other, making new friends. So that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I had a fall, in 600, the first 600. I had a fall it was a night ride. I don't have an absolute fascination for night rides yet because for me the visual matters a lot.
Right.
So
This fall, what happened?
I had a fracture in my right hand.
Okay.
So my first 600 I had a fall. So I
How
could
did it?
I think there was a difference in the road. No, I was not sleepy at all. I
Hmm.
was just my
During the night, you
night,
you
yeah,
couldn't spot.
yeah, there was a huge difference in the road. The person
Right.
behind me
Hmm.
who was the first one who saw me fall, no, saw me, was like, there was a huge difference because I was really attentive when we trying to go, but you have a patch of light and a little
Yeah.
shift, so gets a little dicey.
And
So
then you crashed and you
yeah,
fractured your
yes, my right hand, and
Hmm.
coincidentally, to finish the series, I had to do a 600, and it was the same route,
Hmm.
so it was the Chitradurga route.
Okay.
So it was the same route I had to do. So even now, when I pass by that place, I always look out for, they're just memories tucked in, and feel so much stronger from that time. And
Right. So after you crashed on that 600-kilometer ride, but how long did it take for you to recover and then complete? And I am assuming you did not finish that
no,
600.
no,
So you
absolutely
have to
not.
do another 600 to
Yes,
complete the SR
yes,
series.
yes.
So how long did it take for you to recover and then to complete it?
I about 2 months because I had a proper fracture,
Hmm.
hairline fracture. I could just not move, turn my hand.
Right.
So yeah, 2 months, and and then COVID happens.
Right.
So and then that is when Relief Riders happened. That was the first season of Relief
Hmm.
Riders. So I was very happy, to just contribute.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the relief riders, right? Since you mentioned that, the first time I came across you was in the relief riders group, and
Right.
you messaged me, like any, all others,
Rides.
about possible rides that we can take part in. So I think you were
Back
contributing to the
office.
back office
Right.
thing. So talk us a little bit about Relief Riders, how you came to know about it, and how what was involved in the back office to kind of aid the process.
So, 2020, right,
Yeah.
is when the first, so there was a message on spokeswoman, I'm not sure by whom, that anybody interested, and to contact Mayor Satya Sankaran, and I was, my hands were back and my legs were keen to cycle, and that's the least I could do. So I immediately got in touch, and so it
Satya
was
Shankaran started this initiative to with a idea of providing supplies
Yes.
to those who are stuck in lockdown and could not, they might be affected by COVID, or or someone in the family might be affected or and quarantined,
Right.
or someone who is older and cannot go out and risk infection and stuff like that. All these people who need emergency supplies and food and stuff like that, they so in order to provide for them, sir, this service of getting food, is this relief riders is that initiative. And you yeah.
Right. So as you said appropriately, so the first season it was mostly the first wave. It
Mm,
was the elderly we were providing. In fact, there was a couple in also whom I would regularly go and supply it when it was joy, just helping and contributing in a way. And it was a network of just about 95 then.
mm,
And last to last, in fact, this is see last. That was the first season. Second season, I think that is when you joined, right?
correct,
That
correct.
was about 205, and
Yeah,
that is when I had joined the back office because there were too many cyclists and they were all too keen to hit the road,
yeah.
and I never got my chance. I wasn't getting my chance, so I was like, let me contribute the back office, but it involved a lot of hours of
Coordinating
yes,
the requests
coordinating requests,
and
figuring out the routes,
and
yes,
marking the riders who is at
right.
suited nearby for the request.
Nearest,
And
yes,
yeah.
because we preferred to give it to the nearest or to the first time because everybody wanted to contribute or
Mm,
first time riders. So,
mm,
and we would sometimes form a chain if it was a long, like I was involved with the Infi, circuits. So they had food and thing, and they already had some addresses there and people they wanted to send it to. So we all would take on, few in a day and pass it on
right.
to form a network either directly or if a chain is required.
Mm.
And,
Great, great,
got it
great. Yeah,
rolling.
the all of the initiatives like relief riders really are very important ways to kind of be part of the community and
Yes,
contributing, right?
yes, yes. It
So
was happiness, that
yeah.
contributing in your little way because especially the second wave, seeing a lot of them were mostly COVID patients and they had requirements and nobody to cater to. So it was nice we could contribute to the community in a small little way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Excellent. So, what what about long distance cycling do you actually love? What drives you?
Uh, so I love traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I love, and that's what the urban, seeing the fields, those, those away from the urban, and like there's a typical Chintamani, the tomato root, La Tomatino, as Bihar calls it. And before that, I've never seen really, fields and fields of tomatoes. So that's just some simple joy and seeing like the Nandi circuit, and climbing the Nandi and doing a loop around nearby and just you come to know so much about where you live and other than the urban, we are so stuck in our system that we do not take the time to go out. So because of this I could, which really got me a lot of happiness and met new people and gain confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Excellent. So, how did this, thought about this east to west, uh, connecting two ends of India, come in? This idea for the ride come into the picture, and how did you get involved?
My co-rider, Meera Velankar, was very keen to do this, and I saw it as an opportunity to travel. I've always wanted to. I love the mountains. I've always loved to travel, ride on the Himalayas.
She was on the podcast, and I remember, I think she mentioned about this idea that she's thinking about, when I asked what next, she was mentioning east to west is something that is there and all that. Yeah. So,
Right, right.
mm,
So she has done the other rides
golden quadrilateral and stuff like
and
that
golden
on
quadrilla.
tandem bikes.
Yes, on
Yeah.
tandem. In fact, she had suggested tandem, but
Mm,
I wasn't sure.
mm,
We've done a few tandem rides together.
mm,
I just thought, going on roadies, and since the tandem was not appropriate, needed some, mending and things like that.
mm,
So, and I was fascinated. She was fascinated by the record,
mm,
while I was fascinated by the travel. As I
mm,
told you, as I love traveling,
mm,
and I believe in traveling by a cycle. I've, in fact, done a couple of solo rides to Pondicherry and Yerkad, so have really enjoyed it, and would have, the thought of cycling on the Himalayas, and wanted to always cycle in Rajasthan or Gujarat. So, because we crossed 7 states, the diversity, various diversity, that really fascinated me. And,
mm.
that's what
Okay. Okay.
got me rolling.
Excellent. So, what kind of training did you do uh, to get ready for this? Right.
So, brevets,
Mm,
200, 300, 400, 600 brevets was one thing. I had done a 1,200 kilometer LRM
mm,
in October. So, because that was the longest ride in a continuous mode. You have it, you need to finish in 90 hours. I had done it in 86 hours, I think.
mm,
So that had given me little confidence, and I was practicing for GOH, which unfortunately I could not attempt.
mm.
Uh, so that was, and as I told you, that I had done, a family trip of going to Pondicherry and Yerkad. I wanted to do a solo ride, and I met my family there.
Mm. So
So
you converted
yes,
vacation into you riding there and rest
yes.
coming in car or
Right,
whatever.
right, absolutely. So
That is an excellent way.
yes, so I got my part of the deal. I would love to have cycled back, but my husband was like, "Bus, enough of us."
Yeah.
So that was fun, and that gave me confidence.
Hmm.
So that was the training,
How
and
how
even
how long is this Pondy trip and stuff like that?
Pondi trip is about 400-ish, 350,
Hmm.
400
Okay.
ish.
But the longest you have done before this east to west is like 1200
Yes,
kilometer LRM.
yes.
So what was the experience of riding like 1200 kilometers continuously in 86 hours?
Very challenging.
What was the route?
It was a Chalukyan route. It
Hmm.
was through Hampi, Aihole, Patatkal. It was rather hot,
Hmm.
in the day, and coming back through the, no, not Gokarna, the, so it was very interesting. I attempted hoping for the best. I was actually riding alone, and then they insisted I join. Once and when they came to know, they told me, no, no, at night you ride with a bunch of these other men. So I joined them, and that's what. So it was really interesting, and it really tests your endurance, in all sorts of ways, mentally, physically, and sleep challenges is one thing, really. And then there was a crazy stretch of terrible road, to Gokak. I'll never forget that. There I almost gave up, and I think maximum people gave up over there. There was this guy whose pedal had just come out, and there was nobody to fix it.
So I heard something like what, 30 kilometers or something of stretch of no roads or something like that, was it?
No, it was much more,
Much more.
more than 60 kilometers. But I remember I would keep telling, and we like the group I was with, I kept telling them, we have some terrible roads. Let's hurry up. Like let's try and get it in the day. It's better in the day. But
Right.
unfortunately, we got it at night. So that was terrible. That was like 60 plus, I would easily say.
Wow.
And terrible roads. I
Hmm.
hands had gone, saddle sores, everything, and it was really a very crazy stretch.
Hmm,
I
hmm,
don't
hmm.
know,
So
but
apart from the challenges of sleeplessness, apart from the challenges of continuous physical exertion, this is another dimension. Like
absolutely.
I mean, in the only brevet I did, I encountered a stretch of maybe 3-4 kilometers of. I did a 200-kilometer brevet back in 2012 or something like that,
Okay.
and it was back when IASC randomers were organizing
Okay.
brevets
Right.
there,
Right.
and it was Savandurga
Okay.
loop, some
Okay.
200, right? So there was one stretch where I think maybe I don't remember how long was it, but maybe like 5 kilometers or something. It was horrible. And you are talking about you are
Ah,
talking about 60 kilometers of such
60
stretch.
plus, and
That is, it is
yes.
unimaginable. It is like
Yes.
it almost makes like feels like 1200 might feel like
Yes,
2000, right?
yes,
So
because the speed on that is terrible.
yeah.
There was a fat bike which developed some two, three punctures on that. A fat bike. So I mean,
Oh my God.
we
Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I think these are maybe these are the kind of experiences that kind of got you, um, you know, physically and mentally prepared for
Yes,
a ride
yes,
like east to west, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I did remember those terrible roads while coming down Himalayas. So,
Yeah.
because we faced, actually, that's what we started from Kibithoo at the
Hmm.
India-China border. And, when we started, it was first of all chilly, and the hands were numb and feet were numb. And the first thing you have to go down and up and can't even change
Change the
gears.
gears.
Like, how do you go on? And the roads are terrible, with rocks. I mean, it's actually, you need a mountain bike, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
on those roads. But we were doing it on a roadie, which is ridiculous. But we survived.
Right. So how long was this stretch?
How long? Actually, till we came down on flatlands.
Okay.
So we had 77 kilometer plus 55 plus 93 kilometers. The day we had 93 kilometers was 2000 plus 2000 plus meters elevation.
Mm-hmm.
So on, but it was so beautiful.
Right.
I would say Kibithoo was heavenly.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, that's what kept me going,
That's the lower
because
Himalayas, is it?
uh, yes, like you could see the snow peaks from
Okay.
there,
Mm-hmm.
lower or middle, or I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
okay.
but
Mm.
yeah, so it was raining when we started,
Yeah. It's the
so
eastmost part of India.
yes,
Okay.
yes, it's the border,
Mm.
India, China, and like it was all just wiped out with fog. Otherwise,
Mm.
you see the India-China border,
Right.
the
So
official
which state is it?
Arunachal Pradesh.
Arunachal Pradesh, right?
Yes,
So, okay, from there you started, and the westmost part, the your
Koteshwar,
destination is Koteshwar
right.
in
India-Pakistan border.
the state
Gujarat.
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 So, from the eastmost part to the westmost part,
Right,
right?
right.
How did you guys plan? What was your goal in terms of how many kilometers did you guys plan to ride per day, and what was the goal like? Did you guys have a plan to complete it in certain days, and what was that?
Yes, we did have approximately 20 plus days, 2025 max is what. And the goal was, about say 150, sometimes 200 kilometers, if possible. Or, sometimes when you require to stop at a place, then, the closest proximity would be another 50 kilometers. So approximately taking that, and I think our average came to about 150 kilometers.
per day?
Yes,
Right,
including our rest day.
right. So how was the terrain, both the course?
So yes, the terrain was crazy
Mm.
initially because the Himalayas and there were just very bad roads. There were landslides. There was muck. There would suddenly be rocks rolling, so there would be machines, and we had to pull our bikes. And we were carrying our own luggage.
Right.
We did
Basically,
not have a support vehicle.
it is a self-supported ride.
Yes, it's a
Right.
self-supported, so we did not have any support vehicles. So we had even a cycle with 5, 6 kgs, 6 kgs of luggage, So
Mm.
it would shake and fall and things like that. So, and roads were terrible, ups, downs, and it was a little crazy. And after that was flatter terrain,
Mhm.
but still. Like we would keep asking people how are the roads and finding out which is the best route and a good route, because sometimes like Lucknow onwards there was expressway which cycles are not allowed, so we had to take longer routes. So and evenings we would avoid cycling too much in the evenings, because I still remember the time we reached Jodhat, a place. We had met also a cyclist, my co-rider knew Meera, but he had not informed us of the terrible roads. And the roads were so terrible that we got punctures, and it was just, we were hurt, by the end of it. The 30, 40 kilometers, we were like treacherized. And that day we did our 235 kilometers that day.
Wow.
So it makes a lot of difference because no highway lights and
Mm.
so we had to change tubes and things, and
Right.
it was
Yeah. Yeah.
challenging.
Wow. So, one when you on a course that long with varied terrain, you are bound to face many challenges.
Absolutely.
What were some of those challenges that you kind of faced? Like just now you mentioned the bad section that you
Right, right.
30 kilometers that
Yeah,
resulted in flats and stuff like that.
right, right.
What?
So, one was the roads,
Mm.
then was the temperatures,
Mm.
because Kibithoo, as I told you, both of us, Meera also couldn't manage. It's like
Right.
I numb feet, and then you go down and you have to go up. Like you don't have feet to pedal. So anyway, that took, and in fact, I had woolen gloves. I had my cycling gloves and I was wearing woolen gloves, but in spite of that, I was so from negative temperatures, -2 it was,
Mm.
to, and where we ended, Rajasthan and Gujarat. Rajasthan also in the morning it would be crazy chilly. Again, fingers getting numb, and afternoon would be crazy hot. So
Mm.
temperatures was the other thing. The winds, hot winds, crosswinds, headwinds. That mechanical issues. So mostly my co-rider got 6 punctures, and usually they came in the evenings, so that
Mm.
was a challenge,
Right.
Changing a couple of times we changed the even the tire,
Mm.
and tire and
So you
tubes
you were
and
carrying the tires,
yes,
or okay?
yes, carrying tire, tube,
Mm.
chains. So yes, and I actually had a fall.
Oh, okay.
So midway
Mm.
around Lucknow, I had a fall,
Oh, okay.
and I had a dislocated tooth and cut across my lip and hurt my fingers
Wow.
and
Yeah,
knee and
I see the injuries now.
yes,
Right.
yes. So it
Yeah.
was really, very, and it had just puffed up by evening and for few days, and
How
I was
how
on
how
antibiotics.
did that happen? Did
Actually, I would ride behind Meera, so Meera was ahead, and she just suddenly slowed down, and a truck on one side, and people on the other side. I tried to turn, and that resulted in a
okay,
fall.
okay.
Fortunately, it wasn't too severe. I just, no
Mm.
bones broken. I
Okay,
had a
yeah.
teeth. In fact, I just got my teeth removed. Yes, tooth removed yesterday.
Wow.
So, and I was all puffed up. I looked like, somebody had boxed me. And people would ask me, first of all, we look weird. And
Yes.
then they would ask
Yeah,
me,
I can still see
yes, I
the
couldn't even
injuries on the
remove my
yeah.
gloves, and I
Right.
would try and just keep it. And,
Right.
and my knees hurt. And I
So
had
this
to,
was in the middle of the journey.
yes, around near Lucknow. So the
Hmm.
Lucknow cyclists help us, went and saw a dentist and said
Hmm.
your tooth is broken and you're infected. And I was on antibiotics and painkillers for 4 5 days, and I was nicely puffed up.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a challenge.
And did you guys, continue after, or did you take a rest day to
No,
kind of
no. I
recover?
in fact got keener that let's, actually Meera was a lot like let's rest it out, but I was like no, but the more I rested, I was like I'll change my mind. And
Yeah.
in fact, there were a couple of times where we thought of quitting also, honestly.
Hmm.
We were just tired because every day the routine of all this and cleaning your bike and got really challenging,
Hmm.
you start early, you reach late, I mean, somewhere in between, I was like sleep riding also.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So, things like that. And both of us had a very different style of riding, Meera and me.
Hmm.
So striking a balance, to make it compatible that we ride together. So yeah.
Yeah, so all these challenges kind of, one is the day in and day out of riding those long distances,
Right.
and then, despite the varied terrain and all that, there is a certain amount of monotony to kind of,
Yes, there is.
wake up and do it all
Yes.
over again tomorrow and
Yes.
stuff like that. So
Yes.
these are the things that kind of got you to
Yes.
the edge of quitting, right?
Quitting and as was a low budget thing, we
Mm-hmm.
stayed in very basic places. Sometimes we just,
Mm.
Gurudwara to even a hospital bed to
Mm.
so we've stayed. So it just got challenging,
Right.
and weather and
Yeah,
everything.
that
So.
was my, the next question was, where did you guys rest, and, where did you guys camp out, or how did you guys manage that?
So we had become YHAI members and
Mm.
we had a lot of support from them, They
Okay.
really supported, and when they came to know it's just both of us.
Mm.
And so each state had different YHAI heads and they were very kind to us, and they would
What does YHA stands
youth
for?
hostel, the
Correct.
youth
Yeah.
hostel facilities, and they're really nice. They're old properties with. So that is one, and actually, in the cyclists, we met a lot of cycling clubs. Cyclists. So they also really helped us with where to stop or things like that. And in fact, there was this lady in Bihar, the YHI, the women side, the Amrapali, it's called. She, in fact, put us up in her house, and that is when we had a rest day.
Mm.
She insisted that, no, you have to take a rest day. And I was like, no, no, we want to get, because actually highway fatigue had set in.
Mm.
I wanted to finish more kilometers and head back home.
Mm.
So she insisted, no, no, you take a left day. So those are the kind of experiences,
Right, right.
So
Really interesting. So when was, which day was this rest day?
rest day was, I think, 12th,
Okay.
13th, yeah,
Right, right.
in
And
Bihar.
yeah. So and how did you guys manage your food and, nutrition and hydration?
So what we got on the way, enjoyed. Like, I'm quite a foodie, so I enjoyed the thukpa from Arunachal to the momos to whatever we got. Like, some days, we couldn't, my co-rider and me couldn't exactly cycle on empty stomachs. I can't usually. I mean, even, few packets of biscuits is what we would just buy in advance and go rolling, or sometimes just buy fruits and go rolling. And then when we see things like, especially the western part of India would open up later, for breakfast. So then we would stop and eat something, and then things we got on the highway is
Mm-hmm.
what we just
Okay.
enjoyed.
Yeah, on the go, not carrying much is it, it is how much do you carry, right?
Right, how
Yeah.
much?
So you have to find food, and then wherever you go, you find food, and sustain on that.
Right,
All
right,
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 excellent.
right.
So, in terms of stuff to carry on the ride, on a ride like this, what all did you guys carry? How many kits, how many kind of spares and stuff like that?
Was carrying chain, tubes, tire, your basic toolkit,
Mm.
and lubes every day we would clean, and then clothes, just
Right,
a couple, and make do with that. I mean,
right.
we had a lot of repeat run of clothes, and it was always nice when they had water we could bathe, so that it felt
Mm.
cleaner. Just so that is the kind of stuff. And then there were two, three places like Siliguri, Lucknow, and Jaipur is where we had posted some fresh clothes.
Mm.
So when we reached those points, we would, in turn, take those and post back our
The
remaining
old
clothes.
ones,
So
yeah.
we would have fresh clothes. So that was happiness. And then those were places I would, some things like chicky or dates is what I like to carry, because when out of food, or, dates or chicky or some sneakers is
Mm-hmm.
also what.
So you posted those also
Right,
around that
right.
time.
Because
Okay.
sometimes wouldn't find it, wasn't sure how searching on the highways, because experience from brevets, sometimes you do not, you're so often going on those flyovers
Mm.
that if you do not cut across the city,
Right.
or, sometimes we did not have the
You will
time to
not,
search for too much.
correct. You will not
So,
find the places to
right,
shops and stuff. Yeah.
right,
Excellent. So another thing is, you mentioned a little bit about the compatibility with the fellow rider, right?
right.
So the what are the things that you guys notice? Both of you notice it was working well in terms of riding together, and what wasn't so working so well.
So, I prefer to continue riding with less breaks, not extended breaks, so that I can retire faster in the evening.
Hmm.
Because, we discovered that the highways were not well lit, or sometimes the roads were bad. And if we had challenges like a puncture or things like that, that further takes time.
Right.
So that is how I prefer to do it, while my co-rider Meera uh, like to take more breaks and extended breaks. And
Hmm.
so we had to try and strike a balance. And
Right.
even our nutrition, the way
Hmm.
she liked a cup of tea in the morning, while I didn't care for none as long
Yeah.
as I had something in my stomach.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All these things do
Yes,
matter,
makes,
right?
yes, yes.
And yeah, that too over a
Longer
longer
period of
period, right?
time. Yes.
Right, right. So, what were the most memorable moments during these 27 days?
So the moments was just, getting back to Himalayas. I love the mountains,
Mm.
as treacherous as it was, but I just loved it. It was so beautiful, seeing the clouds and the mountains. And we were, the river Lohit, so, it constantly flowed along with us. So, passing all these beautiful places, passing through Kaziranga Reserve. Then, as I told you, meeting all the cyclists. It was so beautiful, meeting cyclists across the cross country, the Rajasthan cyclist, Jaipur cyclist, the Bharatpur cyclist, Lucknow cyclist. In fact, that's what the Lucknow cyclists, they helped me with, since I had a fall. And Purnia, there was batch of 15 people who rode with us. That was so much joy, because both of us used to ride with each other and we suddenly had music and people. And so we were also like all pepped up and riding fast. And so Purnia and in Bhuj and meeting the cyclists there, and so that was beautiful. And as I told you that the lady from the YHAI Amrapali, she put us up in her house. I thought she was 72.
Wow.
She had the knee pain and she would tell, and we'd go in the kitchen and try to help her. She would not let us touch a thing. She like, no, I will cook for you, you please rest. And so we're really touched by that. And after we passed these places also, they would get back to us that, where have you reached? Are you okay? Are you on a roll?
Mm.
And things like that. And they would motivate us. So that really touched us, It
Right.
really touched that, we need to complete. And, there's so many people. In Arunachal at an obnoxious hour at 4:30 a.m. we rode up. It was a challenge even going up there
Mm.
because the roads were so terrible. So, the government officials who flagged us off, at an unearthly hour. And so it was really nice, because they've encouraged and motivated people, to do something. So,
Yeah, so
which, so,
the beautiful places and the
yes,
locations,
yes,
but more
it's
than
the
that, it's
people.
the more beautiful is the people and
Yes,
their
yes, the people.
generosity and the love,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Like the last place, Koteshwar.
Mm.
So I was going to just go there and get back
Mm.
because Koteshwar, I was going to go back to Bhuj, but this guy, he just saw me and I was like, yeah, I want sugarcane juice. And I just ran here and there to take photos and run. He was like, no way are you going. And they all were so warm to us. And, people in smaller places are so much warmer and so much more humane,
Right,
is what discovered, So that really touched us. And
right.
that was so beautiful.
Really, really, really nice. So, was it, the great thing about all this is, if I were in your place when I had that fall with all these injuries, I don't know if I would have made another another step forward. I would have taken another step forward, but kudos, yeah. What kind of got you going there in such a difficult situation?
Yeah, because by the time we reached halfway mark,
Right.
it was so challenging.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see myself doing too much of this too often, and I've given lot of, and so I hate leaving things
Mm.
incomplete also, and
Right.
it was a passion to just continue. And I know my co-rider Meera was very shaken when she saw me fall in, and
Mm.
I was all puffed up.
Right.
In fact, a couple of days after that, I had another accident. A car just came randomly and stopped right in front of me,
Oh,
and I pressed both my brakes, but my cycle went bang into it. I blew the hell out of there, and my brakes jammed. And it's just we cyclists are just,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be for cycles, and it was
Mm.
so scary. Like one day in the morning, we saw a accident right in front of us, live, a lady, and I think, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope she recovered. And by
Mm.
evening, we saw another car hit a cycle, and all we saw the cycle. So to keep rolling after that, because uh, life is so unpredictable. Do what you love and just hope for the best.
Oh, no,
Yes.
no, definitely. I mean, really, really, kudos to you, both of you, for completing the ride,
Thank you.
uh, despite all the challenges of all these, the terrain, the temperatures and all the roads and everything else, the falls. Despite all that, you guys, both of you have managed to complete it successfully. Kudos to both of you.
Thank you.
And so, what else is in the horizon for you?
So I'm just, I'm just recovering and
Yeah, you
still sinking in.
just came back,
Yeah.
and thank you for taking the time to come and share your experience so
Thank you
quickly.
for having me before. Yeah. So yes, I love the experience. I mean, it was a lifetime experience for me. As crazy as it was an odyssey of sorts. So
Mm,
I would love to travel. In India. Uh, Maybe internationally also, and would just love to continue on long rides because they take you away from the urban, which I
right,
love. So yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. Awesome. Any tips for working athletes to do well at their sport as well as work?
Yes, especially women. You should, take some time out. And I mean, even men, we all are so tied up with our routines, work, and that we just don't have time for ourselves because this could be a time for ourselves, mentally, physically, and it nourishes us and our soul, is what I think, because life just races by. So yeah, I mean, being an architect myself, like initially, I when I started the brevets, I was very busy, but I would just try and ration out time and go for rides if required early or whatever, wrap them up quick or things like that. But I think we should keep rolling and follow your passions, do what you like, because I truly believe that pain is temporary, but quitting is forever, as Lance Armstrong said. And I
Mm.
truly, I've always felt that. So
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, you lived that by completing, despite your crash, in the middle of the such a challenging ride, despite carrying on with all those injuries and successfully completing, you
Yes.
lived that code. So kudos again, and all the best for your future rides. And thank you for taking the time and sharing your experience here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for hearing me out. Lovely being over here.